and you can adjust that bowl to how you want to eat it.
And you add fresh onion and cilantro, soy sauce, vinegar, salt, and you dip your things in there as you do, and it adds the acidity to it and the saltiness to it.
Because what's coming out is heat, but what you can do is add the acid to it to make it balanced, and I thought that was very, very ingenious. The servers start to bring out these crazy platters, things that in the West we don't see, or if we see, we don't see them for long. Pork intestine, pork lung, duck intestine, beef intestine, pork tripe.
I was getting very nervous, and I knew this was going to be a really big challenge for me, but that it was something that I should really overcome and just face forward. And Lawrence was really, really supportive. He was like, "You're here, you have to do it. Just don't think about it, it's going to be great."
When in Chengdu, we must. There were things that we understood like tofu. Oh, tofu, but this one is stuffed with fish. Long strips of celtis.
Thinly sliced fatty beef, a marinated beef, pork ribs, which were great. And I have to say, as intimidating as today was, I really loved it. I can't wait to try and replicate it at home. They were very generous and gave us packets to take home so we can make the hot pot at our house, and I'm really excited to kind of expand on it and try different things within that broth.
It wasn't as spicy as I thought it was going to be, but I can see how this could be such a party. 10 of you around this pot, taking hours and hours to enjoy this meal. I love it.
So today we came to the Jinli ancient street, which is designed in the Qing dynasty style. And it's an area that's been about commerce for a long time, but they've rebuilt it to kind of instill and maintain that style.
My fear was that it would be a fake representation, but not at all. These are the real deal. These are artisans presenting their wares. We arrived as the sun was starting to set. Every shop is different as you walk through past windows, from women's clothing to carved ornate chopsticks.
There's gourds that have been hollowed out. Some have calligraphy on them. There's a lot of folk art from the area.
I managed to walk into a little calligraphist, and I got to pick up a beautiful brush, start to do a tiny little bit of really badly done calligraphy, but it was a very deep experience.
There's just a lot going on here. Restaurants, bars, tea houses, everything that kind of encompasses the culture all along these winding roads.
There's fruit stalls everywhere you go, and very original to this area, street snacks.
A lot of skewers and little things that you can eat while you're walking.
We were lucky enough to try a beef skewer.
There's lots of treats and sweets and sugary things, and there's one that we actually had when we were out in the countryside the other day. It's like a crunchy sesame, millet, peanut, sugar thing, so I'm really excited to take that home and share that experience with everyone there.
We walked over beautiful bridges. They sort of escape the bustle of these crowded streets.
The lighting here is really beautiful with all the red lanterns. It was really great to capture all the dark alleys lit by just the red lantern. It was really just a beautiful scene here. So this morning we drove a little bit outside the main part of the city to go visit Sunshine Organic Eco Farm. They've only been farming for about 3 years on the location. Their first plot, they started in 2010, so now it is officially, technically organic, certified organic.
This is a recent development, so they're just sort of experimenting through this. This is an unusual process, not common to this area at all.
And it was really fun to get to see an organic farm. That's something that's been an ongoing discussion between me and Lawrence this whole trip is, what are the Chinese food systems like? What are the restrictions? Is there an organic movement here? Because it's something that we both are very passionate about, especially being in the San Francisco area where it's very prevalent. So to get to go and experience an organic farm was a really great way to tie all of that discussion together.
And there's a gentleman named William who is the son of a contractor who'd come into town and decided they'd fallen in love with a small parcel. And when they proposed to buy this parcel and turn it into an eco-friendly town, the government basically said, if you're going to start an eco-town, you need some sort of farm attached to that. And that is how they sort of stumbled onto eco-farming or organic farming. If they can sell these vegetables, if they can create a market for this, then maybe this part of China can step into what we are so much running through in the States right now, especially on the West Coast. They've so far gone about 200 different varietals, also medicinal plants, but that's about 15% of what they do. The rest are crops. They think so far their best crops have been tomatoes and cucumbers, strawberries for sure. We saw corn, we saw spinach, we saw cabbage, all in these hoop hothouses that really, really retain the heat. I mean, even hotter than it was outside today, and today was sort of a record-breaking day of heat.
And they're really investing in that community. That was really kind of apparent when we saw all the kids and they were teaching the children how to plant the pot with probably cabbage or something. It's something that they do all the time, is get the kids involved, which I thought was really great. After the farm, we drove back into the city and came to a place that almost is kind of reminiscent of the night market, where it's an alley corridor with a lot of commerce going on. And we walked down through the street and came to Family Kitchen.
They don't just open to the public. You have to make a reservation, and you have to only book for one of 6 tables in this place. So it's quite exclusive.
And as we came in, there's a beautiful courtyard.
This must have been a beautiful house to live in, and now it is recreated into a beautiful space to dine in.
And it's Chef Yu and his wife, and they're partners in the restaurant. They built it together. I didn't realize that this is where we were coming today, but this chef is actually the only chef that I went preparing for this trip heard of. So when we got here today and saw his chef coat with the name, I was really excited that we actually were going to meet him. He likes to modify recipes, and he's more about, this is Chengdu now. This is the modern time of this cuisine. We don't have to follow every single rule. We just need to maintain the prestige of what the cuisine is and what it's meant to this place.
And when we stepped into his very, very, very disciplined kitchen, you could see that he was a very serious man, very serious about his craft.
And Chef prepared 2 dishes for us. At first, he took a river fish and he seasoned it with a little bit of salt and a peppercorn infused oil, and then dredged it in cornstarch.
And then quickly flash fried that.
Then he reserved the fish and he made a broth with ginger, whole cloves of garlic. There was a fish stock that was the base of it all. And he took that and cooked it in the wok for a while, but then switched it out to a smaller braising pan, which was really interesting to see, and put it on a low heat on a burner, added some pork to it and other ingredients to really concentrate the flavor. And then he proceeded to put the fish in there, but only for a quick while just to finish the cooking process and kind of reinforce the fish flavor into it. And then after that, he took a consomme and he poured consomme over the fish.
Sort of a Western technique in my upbringing of clarifying the stock.
It was duck and chicken and scallops.
You know, basically see-through.
Consomme is a very classic French technique. It's very nice, really clean.
Oh, it's beautiful. Consomme. And steamed this. After steaming that for quite a while, he drained the consomme off and put a new consomme on top of it. Same thing, but his idea was that he was going to do this 3 or sometimes 4 times when he serves this dish usually. He wanted to be so pure, the consomme in the fish.
He also, to the side, prepared a sauce which the base was the same consomme with a lot of ginger, and it had a little bit of sesame oil and some vinegar in it, and it was a really bright flavored, balanced sauce. And you take the fish out of the broth that it's in and you dip it into the really strongly flavored sauce. It was really beautifully done. It was a lot of time and patience going into a dish. The other dish that he prepared, I was very excited about because it was prepared with squash tendrils, the tops ends of the squash plant versus the actual fruit of the plant.
We don't use those in my restaurant. We don't have access to them, but it's something I will go back and hunt out because I know they're around.
So he took the greens and he blanched them in boiling water and then strained them off and reserved them.
And then he started a little saute with bacon or pork belly.
And some chicken stock and then cornstarch slurry to thicken it into a sauce. And then he cooked the greens within that, and that was the whole dish. It was really just about showcasing the tendrils.
When it came down to eat the dishes, taste these dishes, we were ushered into a small room. There was a table. In the middle of the table were square porcelain dishes with a representation of the absolute skill of the kitchen.
Very beautiful and orchestrated and choreographed. And I really appreciate that choreographed service. It's something that, and again, really resonates with my experience in cooking.
And these were just basically for us to see, and then they were promptly removed.
The first dish was really whimsical. It was calligraphy brushes, and we had actually experienced that last night at the night market. Lawrence actually tried writing with it.
It piqued my interest, especially when our server graciously said, "Now go ahead and eat those." The very tops of the brushes were pastry, and we dipped them into sort of a tomato-style sauce, and you got to eat this little pastry, which I thought was really whimsical and really fun.
One bite, really light, crisp, nice, acidic from the sauce flavors. It would be a great talking point in a group of people, I'm sure. Just something kind of silly to start out the night and kind of set the tone for the surprises that were going to be coming.
And that was followed very quickly with a beautiful, looked like a gallo of smoked duck.
It had these little bread that were like a pocket.
Which you opened up, and inside you put a little bit of onion and a little bit of sliced cucumber, and then pulled the duck and dipped it into a dark hoisin style sauce into the bun and got to eat that. Obviously the chef has talent, obviously the chef is an artist, but he's also a funny guy, and that is fun to see. These are pumpkin tendrils, or pumpkin greens.
Very clean and really showcases the flavor of the squash shoot versus masking it with a heavy sauce.
That's great. Still got great texture too. Still got a nice crunch.
The fish is so smooth and delicate, it just melts in your mouth. It's really nice. The coating on the outside though also gives it a little bit of texture. And then the sauce is so balanced, it seasons everything, but you still taste the duck and the chicken and everything coming from the consomme as well.
Such a fun idea to be able to play with your food for a little bit as well. So to remove from one dish to the next to bring back to your mouth. So you really have to interact with the dish a little bit. The broth is just really, really the base of this whole thing. It's the backbone of the dish. And it's just so clear and clean. Lovely.
So today we came to the Xuanxing Tea House.
The attention to detail is amazing, and the cost must be astronomical. It's roughly about 24,000 square feet. One place feeding up to 1,400 people.
This place is a massive structure, and they have created very intimate settings, even though it's a very large production. The rooms are all lit very low with lanterns, and it's very nice. It creates a very nice ambiance.
A lot of the lights actually had a tea motif, which is very interesting. Big, big, big lights with like upside down teacups. A pond that was lit with beautiful teacups as well. Wood carving in every direction.